Today you're going to learn how to do crayon resist with watercolors. But first I want to explain what is actually happening whenever you are using the watercolors on top of the crayons. So we're going to color a paper totally with our crayons. And in order for this to work, think about this when you are drawing too, you want to be pressing really hard with your crayon because you're coating the surface of your paper with wax. Crayons are made out of wax. So when we're using watercolor on normal paper, that paper is going to absorb the water and then the paper will get wet and the pigment will be left over. So we'll still be seeing that color of the watercolor now on our paper. But when we try this on the wax resist, so we're on the crayon, wherever we've drawn the crayon, something different is going to happen. Go ahead and take your finger and slide it across the surface of the crayon. Notice how it's smooth, slick, and waxy. So when we put watercolor on top of that waxy surface, notice that the watercolor actually just sits right on top of the crayon. The wax provides a protective coating for the paper that does not allow the water to actually be absorbed by the paper. This is called resist. So the wax is resisting the watercolor. But notice that the watercolor will stay on the paper around the crayon. So this is going to happen when you work on your project today. Wherever you put crayon, when you paint the watercolor over it, it's going to resist your watercolor. Let's try this with a white crayon because it's pretty magical and really awesome. So wherever I put this white crayon, there will be a secret design that shows up whenever I paint over it. So right now you can't really tell what I am drawing, but now when I paint over the top of it, look at that! There's a smile just for you. Crayon resist can work really well by making patterns. So today I'm going to show you a few patterns you might use in this project. First, I'm going to practice by making 4 different designs. You could take time to practice, or if you would like to choose one of these, you could do it on your own paper for the full thing. The first design that I'm going to show you is how to do mermaid or fish scales. First, you're going to start by making arches that are a little bit bigger than your fingernail. Take your time doing this. I'm speeding it up so that it doesn't take up too much of your time. After you've made the first hump of each of them, you're going to come back and add 2 more arches to make it look like small rainbows. You're going to do this inside of each of the scales. Again, take your time. I speeded up my video. Or you could do a pattern that would look like this, where I start with 3 small lines. Then I turn my crayon and I do 3 more lines. Then I go a new direction and add 3 more lines, and 3 more, and 3 more. So you're just twisting your hand to make your lines go in different directions in groups of 3. Fill in the entire space this same way. A third pattern that you might do are stars. So first I make an X, then I put an extra line down the middle of it. I make an X with an extra line, an X with an extra line. And you'll repeat this until you fill in your entire space. The last pattern that we're going to learn today is how to do spirals. So start in the middle and then try and connect your spirals together by having them touch. So you'll have lots and lots of spirals packed into this small space. Notice that I start my spiral very close to each other. Some of them I go around a little bit more than others. You're going to fill the whole space this way. Now you get to choose your own pattern to make. So go ahead and pause the video and fill your paper with patterns. Now we're going to add watercolor. Remember, with watercolor, you don't want to scoop the paint out. You're just lightly swirling your brush on the top, keeping the tippy toes up and dancing on the surface of your paint. Take your time to paint just a little bit at a time. I have chosen yellow to paint over my blue so that they have a strong contrast. Blue is a little bit of a darker, bolder color. The yellow in the background is a little bit softer and lighter. I would not want to choose black in order to go over the blue because then I won't see my blue lines as well. So choose a color that contrasts the other color you've already chosen. I'm doing that again when I chose pink for over the black. Pink is a very light color, black is darker, so they contrast each other. I've sped up the video, so remember to take your time when you are painting. Now I'll go ahead and finish these up by adding watercolors to the other two designs. I thought blue might make the stars look like a starry night, so I used the color that I most often think of with the sky. I fast forwarded my video here, so when you're doing this, make sure that you take your time. Just a little bit of paint at once. The green and the pink really contrast each other and make each other look intense. I can't wait to see what you will do with yours and how you will fill in all the space on your paper with color.